Hello Nigerians, welcome to Road to 2027. My name is Cynthia Agbo. Nigeria's democracy is built on the participation of its citizens. But as a country approaches another election cycle, one question continues to generate debate. Where are the women? Women make up almost half of Nigeria's population. They make up about 47% of registered voters. They vote, they mobilize, they participate in political campaigns. Yet, when it comes to occupying elected positions, their numbers remain significantly low. Since Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1999, no woman has been elected president, no woman has been elected vice president, and no woman has been elected governor of any state. And in the National Assembly, women continue to represent only a small fraction of lawmakers. Now, for many years, advocates have argued that the issue is not whether Nigerian women are interested in leadership, but whether political structures provide them equal opportunities to compete. From party nomination processes to campaign financing, political networks, security concerns, and cultural expectations, women seeking public office continue to face unique challenges every time. As Nigeria prepares for the 2027 general elections, the conversation around women's political participation is once again taking center stage. Tonight on Road to 2027, we examine the journey of women in politics, the barriers they face, the changes needed to achieve a greater inclusion. Once again, welcome to Road to 2027. We'll be right back. Today on the show, we're going to be having great conversation with a former lawmaker and as well an advocate. But before that, let us look at some political developments making the headlines. Now, the first story on our list today is about INEC urging political parties to ensure that credible election come 2027. So the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amopitan, has called on political parties to uphold democratic principles as Nigeria prepares for the 2027 general elections. Now, he spoke during a meeting with leaders of political parties. He said that the success of the elections will depend not only on INEC's preparedness, but also on the commitment of political actors to transparent primaries, issue-based campaigns, and respect for the rule of law. He also raised concerns over pending court cases involving the leadership of some political parties, describing them as distractions that could affect democratic processes. And of course, the chairman urged stakeholders to work together to ensure a credible and peaceful electoral process. Also, let's now move on to the NDC, where the national leader and founder of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, Sereke Dixon, has acknowledged that the party experienced challenges during its recently concluded primary elections. He spoke on a live television show where he said the issues would have been worse, considering that the NDC is still a young political party. He, however, said aspirants and party members have shown restraint and commitment toward resolving the challenges. Dixon also dismissed claims that the party should be indebted to any individual for joining its platform ahead of the 2027 elections, urging supporters to focus on strengthening the party rather than attacking its leadership. He said the NDC remains committed to providing a platform for candidates seeking elective positions in the next general election. Let me also add that there have been recent claims, which of course has led to suing from different parts. Well, this is a conversation where we will dig deeper into it by the next episode of the Road to 2027, because it seems like the politics is becoming heated. All right, so the conversation about women's participation in public life is not new. Nigerian women have a long history of political engagement, advocacy, and of course activism. One of the things you're going to enjoy on this show is how we're going to be taking you back, down memory lane, so you can get a clearer perspective and context to every everything that involves, election in Nigeria. Now, we're going to go back to 1966. In the years following the independence, women organizations, played important roles in advocating for social development, peace, and greater participation in national affairs. A major global moment came in 1995 during the Beijing Conference on Women, where countries committed to advancing gender equality and increasing women's participation in decision making. I think we have to look at that video. It's just a very short video. We hear that and we'll come back.
If there is one message that echoes forth from this conference, let it be that human rights are women's rights and women's rights are human rights once and for all. And among those rights are the right to speak freely and the right to be heard.
Now, following Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, expectations grew that women would have greater opportunities to occupy political positions. However, more than 2 decades later, representation remains limited. Let's now look at a breakdown. At the presidency, we have none, no figure. Vice president, none. Governorship positions, no woman has been elected governor in any Nigerian state since 1999. Let's now go to the National Assembly. At the Senate in 1999, we have 3 women, 2015, 8, 7, 4. We have a graph for that which will be on the screen. And now at the House of Representatives, from 1999 to 2023, you can see that we have 12, 19, 11, and 14 women. Now, despite decades of advocacy, women remain significantly underrepresented in Nigeria's political leadership. Let us now go further. Women are not absent from Nigeria's electoral process. It will interest you to know that they make up significant percentage of the voting population. So the big question now is that for a gender that makes up this huge number, why haven't we had any major position? Well, looking at the graph on your screen, you will see that 47% of Nigeria's registered voters are women. 49% of Nigeria's estimated population are women. Now, during the 2023 general elections, we also see that 15,336 total candidates and 1,524 were women. Now, that represents only a small percentage of all candidates who are contested. So the comparison with other African countries is also a big deal, because if we call ourselves the giants of Africa, how come we're not even giant in areas like this? Now, women representation in national parliament, for example, in Rwanda, 48%, in Senegal, 46%, in South Africa, 45%, in Kenya, we have 28%, in Ghana, our neighbors, 15%. But when you come to Nigeria, it's about 6%. The question remains, why are fewer women making it into political offices? There have been lots of concerns. Now, women-led civil society organizations are calling for greater inclusion of female aspirants, raising concerns about the number of women emerging from ongoing political party processes. Just to let you know that recently we had the party primaries, and of course this particular press conference was held during the party primaries because of the situation some women found themselves. Now, the groups argue that there remains a gap between commitment towards women's inclusion and the reality of candidate selection. They also talked about a number of issues. Let's look at it.
Of inclusion is in Nigeria since immemorial, and that's why we will continue to talk. We'll continue to appeal. We have appealed, we have begged, we have what is the other word? We have protested. We've done everything that other women all over the world are doing, yet we're being sidelined. Do the right thing and ensure that Nigeria progresses. If truly all our leaders love Nigeria.
Only thing I would say our Nigerian women don't know how to do is the violence and play the politics of money. Because what we have seen that has happened in this primary so far is that the money bags have been able to push credible women off the space.
We have to bring women in. Look at the situation where we are in Nigeria. People are celebrating Namibia now. The woman is there. So give us an opportunity. It's just what we are saying.
I think that it is very important because the media, though it is the fourth realm of the estate, it is the hope of amplifying women in this election.
Now, the concerns raised, as you can see, highlight a broader conversation around party structures, nomination processes, funding, challenges. If one of them said women don't know how to play violence. Well, women face before the ballot. Well, I do not think that violence is something that you should inhabit. But beyond the numbers, many analysts argue that the barriers women face are deeply rooted in the structure of Nigerian politics. We're going to take a closer look. For example, how did the few women who made it get there? The second one is, the decision is made before the primary begins. When you look at it, you see a number of things. Now, the third one is that there is the issue of violence. Well, this conversation will not be complete if we do not go out to the streets and hear what Nigerians out there have to say. Now, at this point, Nigeria has enjoyed 27 years of uninterrupted democracy. But how inclusive has that democracy been? One key yardstick in women's participation in politics. Yet, despite constituting nearly half the population, women occupy less than 5%, or let's say 6%, of elective positions at the national level. So should more women be in the politics? And what exactly is holding them back? Our correspondent, Godwin Amunde, actually did this one for us. Let's look at it.
In Nigeria's 27 years of uninterrupted democracy, one question persists. Where are the women? The numbers tell a stark story. From 1999 to 2023, women's representation in the National Assembly has never crossed 7%. In some state houses of assembly, there is not a single female lawmaker. Despite making up 49.5% of the population, women occupy less than 5% of elective seats at the national level. After the 2023 general elections, only 3 of 109 senators and 17 of 360 House of Representatives were women. Yet, Section 42 of the 1999 Constitution guarantees freedom from discrimination. Nigeria is also signatory to international protocols demanding 35% affirmative action for women. So why the gap between policy and reality?
That's why when we advocate for gender equality, we're talking about women being given, equal opportunities. If you don't have equal opportunities to do your business, if you don't have equal opportunities when you talk about professional life in your career path and all of that, how would you even have the resources to even want to run for office? I mean, it takes a lot of resources to run for office in Nigeria. We all know that. We can't pretend about these factors.
We have seen for the past administration, like Mrs. Dora Akunyele, what she has did in the NAFDAC area when she was the DG NAFDAC, and when she became the Minister of Information and Communication during the time of late Musa Yar'Adua. We saw what she has put in place before she left. And if you can see, a Nigerian woman is leading the world today when it comes to World Trade Center, Mrs. Konjo Iweala. So from my own experience and my capacity, gender equality, Nigerian Senate and Nigerian National Assembly, I'm appealing to them that they should give women more opportunity to serve in different capacities so that they can save Nigeria from the mess, because men are not really trying. So we should try women. We should give women more privilege to do more.
In 2023, nomination forms for presidential tickets in major parties cost up to 100 million naira.
Some of the challenges we women face, it's one, financial challenges, and secondly, we've been made to believe that you must be in the ruling party. I want to encourage a lot of women out there who are interested in joining the political space that they shouldn't be discouraged because they're not able to obtain a form in APC or PDP. There are other parties where they can go in and obtain their forms.
Cultural and religious stereotypes also play a role. In many communities, politics is seen as a man's job. Women who contest are labeled as disobedient or wayward. But respondents say the impact goes beyond fairness.
To my own personal opinion, one is oppression from the men. You can see for the case of Natasha, a senator from Kogi Senatorial West, the way they oppress her, they suppress her. Even currently we have a female senator representing Federal Capital Territory. in person of Ireti. You see how the men oppress them, they feel they can't do nothing, just like the way African men, we think our women are weak. They don't have say. Even at home, when women give advice, women will not take. So that is the reason why women are not so vocal to speak or to come up and do well in the society, because the major factor that we surprise them, we oppress them. Like you see the FCC minister, in collaboration with the former FCC Senator Philip Aduda, the war they wage against this female senator representing FCT, they silent her. You understand? Because she confronted the minister. Don't give women regard. We don't listen to our women, both home and offices. And women are good material to develop in any field. We feed women, from practical, both European, African, and anywhere. Women are doing well.
Political parties pledged 35% affirmative action. The national gender policy adopted it in 2006. Yet, 20 years later, implementation lags. In spite of these bottlenecks, women were still urged never to relent as they stand in the better position for true leadership.
Because most of the time, women, once they are into something, they used to manage it well. Yes, sir. If the government can give them a chance, they can do more better.
More organized generally. I would say let's start from like the home. Women run like excellent families, so leadership is honed from the house or from the family and then into society. So these are things that they do effortlessly, or we women do effortlessly, and this could possibly translate into governance.
The question for Nigeria as it approaches 2027 is simple. Can we deepen democracy while half the population remains on the margins? Only time will.
Now, those were the views of Nigerians. While opinion may differ on how best to increase women's participation in politics, the conversation continues around creating systems where citizens, regardless of gender, have equal opportunities. Now, this is the good part. We're going to be having a conversation, but that will come right after this break. All right, welcome back. We're going to go into the conversation right now, and hopefully both of you can hear me and we'll be able to hear ourselves and have a great conversation. So I'm going to start with Honorable Onwudiwe, former member representing Njaba Constituency at the Imo State House of Assembly. Good evening, Honorable. Can you hear me now? And I think I should be able to hear you now. Yes, I can hear you. Fantastic.
Hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. All right. You are fondly called Njaba. I mean, that is one name. When I came across it, I was really excited. I was like,
oh my goodness, you did good.
Thank you. All right, so let's talk about. I mean, 2027 is coming, and this is a time where it's almost like every time election is coming up, that is when we remember women's inclusion in politics. The conversation about women getting involved begins to, take over. From your perspective as a woman in politics, why do you think that is always towards election period? That is when Nigerians begin to amplify the conversation of women in politics.
Okay, thank you. My name is Right Honorable Ambassador Mrs. Onwudiwe, PhD. I represented Njaba State Constituency in Imo 8th and 9th Assembly. It's a very wonderful question, and this is one thing that each and every one of us that have gotten to a little bit above stakeholders' corridor of politics always ask. We don't start on time, and we relax a lot. But the main thing that you don't blame women. Everything in politics is all about money. For you to sustain that policy, for you to sustain that awareness, is all about money. One, do we have it? Those that do have the money, do they believe in it? Because the majority of our women are just struggling to make a change. Not because of they have money, not because of anything, but because they have the capacity, they have the technology know-how, they have the wisdom, they have the ideas, and they want to serve. And they want to serve selflessly. That's what women are begging for. Women are trying to make a change in leadership corridor. And when women, we know that we do have all it takes to make change in this country. We're ready to add value, and we're not interested in materialistic things. But the issue is to sustain it immediately after any electoral cycle is not always easy. And most times women always wait so that the time when they will be talking about it, the gatekeepers will listen and now come at the table and ask us, what do you want? But they're not ready to do that. They're not ready to do that. So all we keep on asking is for them to enact that law that give women the opportunity, the authority, the capacity to contest on a fair ground. And most times, if we don't have that law in our constitution, it's not going to be easy for women to resume that position, because men, they're not ready to shift. They're not ready to shift. So if they always give us an opportunity to drag our seats closer to where they are, women will make a difference from that. But if they can't give us opportunity of having quotas or intertwined kind of method, saying it in a constitution, that in a situation when a man is a governor, automatically a woman should be the deputy governor. Or when you have, when we have a speaker, a man speaker, automatically the woman must be the deputy speaker, and the same thing with Senate, and the same thing with local government chairman, so that those women from that corridor will start rising and start having that capacity to take over from their boss immediately they're stepping out, or to have the opportunity to even to contest in another position if need be, depends on the zoning method in their own locality. Okay. So women, they don't have all it takes to sustain it till the next cycle of election. So they always wait for the corridor of the election period, so that they will now bring it in a situation where the discussion will be fresh and they will listen to them. Okay. So that's the reason. Okay, so before I move on to Ambassador Candice, right, I want to ask you, you did mention some policies and laws, because we're very much aware that the Nigeria's revised national gender policy advocates for 35% affirmative action target for women in both elective and appointive positions. So this is already a thing, but it's almost like it's not been adhered to. You also mentioned the issue of strong financial backing. Women don't have as much money to go through the cycle, until another election, so they have to wait till a few months to election before the conversation starts. Now, don't you think that this waiting has put women in a very disadvantaged positions? Because, well, let me hear from you first before we move to the next aspects of that question. No, it is. No, it has. It's one of our challenges. It's one of our challenges. It's very apt. But the issue is, who are the women that are ready to contest? Who are they? What efforts have they been involved politically before the election period? We don't have women in the corridor of political elections before the election period. And most women who are in the election period are not ready to contest. The fear. Remember, we still have this cultural problem. We still have this stereotype problem. We still have financial problem. A lot is going against women, but those women who has all it takes to contest election, they are not closer in politics. They are maybe private owners on their own side, have their own way of the way they are seeing leadership. And coming into that period is always towards election, when they will now shift and say, okay, I think it's time for me to go and come and have the opportunity to lead. So most times the people you see in the core political circle, they are not people that would like to contest an election. And those few that want to contest an election are having issues with the gatekeepers. Remember, 99% of the gatekeepers in the electoral circle are political circles are men, and they like to favor themselves.
Okay.
They like to favor themselves.
So I still have like 1 or 2 questions for you, Honorable. But let me move a bit to Ambassador Candice. She's joining us all the way from South Africa, and you have been on the field, Ambassador Candice. If you can hear me, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Good evening to you. Good evening, Honorable. Good evening, Nigeria.
So you've been in the field, you know, you've been at the center for different countries, Nigeria as well. And if you have followed through the background, we did talk about how, you know, other African countries have succeeded in including women. What do you think, from your perspective as someone who has been on the field and has witnessed several elections, what do you think are the factors limiting Nigerian women from attaining good number of elective positions? What is your thoughts on that?
You know, from what we have experienced while on the field, there's a lot of insecurity among women, especially women in the marketplace, women in those rural areas, villages, where we have been. So, and then obviously there is the poverty side of everything. You understand? And like the Honorable mentioned, was that what is standing between the woman and the next level is the finances that are attached to the next level. And then also there was one thing which was very troubling, that while we were on the field, there was a register, people's names were not on the register, and it brought on that frustration. This is where we register, this is where we have been all these years, and this is the place where we have voted. So that in itself brings that frustration. And you know that violence is a language that we not all understand. But those that are on the field, those that are out there, they understand that language because of all these frustrations that have built up. The only thing that you can do right now is raise your voice, and more of the case, those voices are raised in violence. But what we are saying to the woman right now, let us use your voice now for power. Let those voices not be heard when you need to voice out power. What Pan-African Women's Projects currently are doing and have been doing, there are 774 local governments. So what we are doing is that we are employing, or rather we are training 100 women for these local governments. You understand?
Okay.
Which means that in all, we are creating a platform to give them that leadership skills, training them from foot soldiers and walking into power. So they have exact experience what is happening on the field right then, and how to deal with voters' apathy and all of that. So which means by 2027, when elections come, we would have raised 77,400 women alone for these local governments that will be used during the time of election, that will empower them to step in to, you know, those women, like the Honorable was saying, that where are those women? So if those women are not there, here is a platform now where we will train these women, where we will give them that skills, you know, to walk in to their political career.
Okay. So if I get you correctly, Ambassador, can you hear me?
Yeah.
If I get you correctly, what you're saying is that your team is trying to, you know, train these women, equip them, build capacity, so that after 2027, they're still being equipped, right? For future endeavors. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
So which means that in the first coming election 2027, there are what are they going to be doing for this election? What are they going to be doing, these women? Are they going to have any local government positions? What are they going to be doing?
They will be foot soldiers.
They will be
foot soldiers. They will be there first hand. Yeah, foot soldiers, you know, working in the security system, observing every irregularities, and hand in hand with the police, with the security, we can cut what is happening on the field that very present moment. So what they observe, they can use for everyone's benefit, not for their benefit, but for the country of Nigeria's benefit, to say that this is what we have observed during elections and this is what we want to stop, because it has been done, you know, in your previous elections. 2023, I was in Nigeria with the presidential elections and with the governor elections, and women have been, you understand. But now we want it to go a little bit more further with more training, more skills, more governance, more projects pertaining women, and raise 10 million women voices into power.
Okay. All right, let's move away from Ambassador. Let's now come back to Honorable Uju. I still do have some questions for Honorable Uju at this point. I mean, as someone who has contested, and you know, your people have been able to give you their mandates, and you represented them so well at the time that you did represent them. Now, you have walked us through some of the challenges that befall the Nigerian women. What it means, right? I just want to hear from you. What it means right now is that the election is next year. Which woman do we even have in any viable position? Or is this year just going to go by like that and nobody, no woman at all? Is there any woman that you know that is out there for any viable?
Yeah, there should be, because my amiable governor has done it fit to show love to women. Because this year they gave 4 women tickets for House of Assembly, then 2 for Federal House, and we're waiting for them to publish their list. No party has published their list up to now after the primaries. So, but this is what I know from APC that I belong. The women that have given tickets, we have seen in some lists. So we're waiting for national executive, national chairman to release the official list. Let us be sure that those women that are being favored from the local government through our amiable governor and the wife will still be on the list. And I can tell you, being on the list is one thing. Women coming together to support their own is another. Because women are quick to judge their fellow woman than a man. They're ready to criticize their fellow woman. They're ready to talk down on their fellow woman. So we need to create awareness. Let them know the importance of supporting their fellow woman, because when you have a woman in power, it's accessible. You must assess the person. It's not like a big man somewhere for you to call the big man, or for you to visit the big man and open the door for you or the gate for you. It's not going to be easy.
Okay, if we have Ambassador Candice, she can also talk about the reserved seats for women in 1 minute. If we have Ambassador Candice still online, we can have your thoughts on that, on the reserved seats for women's bill.
Okay, you know, at the time when the bill went out, INEX, from Pan-African Women's Project, there was no press release due to the INEC timetable on 2027 election. But according to us, we fully support that bill, and this bill it will help move Nigeria from 4.5 females to 13.6 and there will be a mass representation. So the bill is a legislative tool for Pan-African women's voice of democracy summit, because we will be having a Voice of Democracy Summit in October from 15 to 16 in Abuja. So we are in support of the bill, and we believe that the constitutional backbone of it will feed as the constitutional backbone for 2027, and the bill will create seats automatically, and those will run for them and will vote for them, and we will observe for them.
All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador Candice, for your thoughts on, women in politics, elections, and the like. Thank you so much for contributing this evening. All right. I wish we could have Honorable Ju give. All right. Honorable Ju seems to be out, but some of the things she did talk about is women supporting themselves. I remember very vividly the last time a woman came out, for the highest position in the country. She had only one vote, which leaves the question, how come she had only one vote? It therefore means probably that one vote came from her husband, or maybe from herself, or maybe from one of her child. And so it gives the concern of women themselves have to always support themselves. And every time we keep saying women supporting women, we also have to take that support to the polls, take it to election. And I think that's the best way to do. So if there's any takeaway from the conversation this evening, is about the fact that there are a number of issues, and we need to have solutions. So I hear that Honorable Ju is back. Let me just get her final thoughts in 1 minute. Honorable, can you please give us your final thoughts in 1 minute on the way forward solutions?
What I want to tell the women is, no matter the position you are holding in anywhere, home, church, community, anywhere, political and non-political, work with all your might, work with your heart, show love, be humble. Character goes a long way for women to assume positions. If you have good character, people will come close to you, people will love you. Not only is because of the relationship I had with my people. In Njaba, I can tell you, my women, the youth, everybody was there for me. When they said that nobody can return in Njaba twice, I did. Because I was there, I helped them, I did everything I should to make them happy, and I opened my doors wide for everybody. So women should learn how to, because we can't challenge men with money. So let us come with our good character. Humility goes a long way for us in politics and in any position we are. There's one gift God gave us, is being kind, being loving, having good hearts with somebody.
All right.
Loving one another, especially our fellow women. Let us stop sizing our fellow women and join hands with other women to make sure we make this world and Nigeria a better place.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
I'm
so
sorry
much
for this for the network problem.
No problem. I want to give you a virtual high five right now. Unfortunately, you can't see that, but that's a virtual high five. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining the conversation this evening.
Ambassador, nice discussion with you, Ambassador.
All right, I'm sure she's gonna hear that. All right, that's the much we can take on the show this beautiful evening. Thank you to both our guests for giving their 2 cents on the conversation ahead of 2027 general elections, gender inclusion in political discussions. We do hope that subsequently, as the show progresses, we're going to have more of these conversations, because there are going to be updates. Unfortunately, we cannot take our electoral word for the week, but all you need to know is that there's a word called secret ballot. Maybe next week when I come back, I'm going to tell you all about the secret ballot, what it means, at what point it happens, and how to identify when that is taking place. I think that we have done enough for today, and it has really been a good show. Thank you so much for joining us. Do not forget that women participation in politics remain one of the most important conversations shaping Nigeria's democratic future. And as the country moves towards 2027 elections, questions around inclusion, representation, and equal access to political power will continue to define the national conversation. Thank you for joining us on this edition. My name is Cynthia Agbo. I will see you next Thursday.